Yahoo minasan, this is Yuki, your reality moderation view elf, and today I'm going to tell you about J-pop music. And I don't know if you have ever listened to J-pop or JROCK, or if you ever wanted to start to listen to Japanese music but you don't have an idea where to start because it's so overwhelming. There are many styles, there are newer songs, older songs, and you don't know people who may give you some recommendations. Then here am I today. I'm going to make a short video to give you my favorite top artists. It's always good to have a goal when you start something new because it keeps you more hooked and gives you more reason to keep doing it. So, in terms of listening to Japanese music, Japanese rock or pop music, which is often what I come across, most of the people I know started it simply because they wanted to watch anime without subtitles at some point. And I know it sounds like a really silly reason, but believe me, it really led to some big dreams. I know some people who went to work in Japan, and some people who became Japanese teachers, and people who became really extra fluent just because of that one reason in the beginning. Basically, so one day you can go to Japan and you can have this purely authentic touristic experience where you can talk to locals, hear from them, and learn about Japan more than ever you could have learned online. And that's also based on my own personal experience. I totally agree that being fluent to a certain extent in Japanese really helps. It's also maybe to make life easier while learning Japanese language. There are often like a lot of recurring themes that you might find in Japanese anime or music that you might learn some vocabulary, some phrases, expressions from them that helps you speak better Japanese or understand it better. The other thing is that you might pick up Japanese music in order to give you a wider range of music to pick up from, either to regulate your mood swings, to find something motivating, positive, that gives you a lot of energy, or sometimes to find something that expresses like strong emotions like sorrow, frustrations, anger. It's important to note here that most of this music that was produced comes in a context where people don't express their emotions openly to people they work with, to their colleagues, to their classmates, family, or friends, because they don't want to burden others with their own emotions, with their thoughts, with their own worries. So it comes from a place where people are very considerate to an excessive extreme, where they don't give themselves the space or the time to really, be selfish and be yourself and take your needs into consideration. So let's start. The first artist I would like to introduce to you today is Lisa. And I would like to make the distinction between the Japanese Lisa and also the Korean Lisa. And her name is written slightly different. You would have definitely heard her voice in Sword Art Online opening, also Angel Beats, Boku no Hero, Fate Stay Night, Kimetsu no Yaiba, Mahoukou no Totsu, and over 42 anime openings and endings. So, moving on to one of really my favorite artists of all the times, which is YOASOBI. And I will be quoting YOASOBI all around this video, but also probably I will be speaking about her in other occasions. Why? Well, first of all, I would like to check this TikTok video, like really short one. And then, moving on from that one, this is the gist of it. Like, people who don't know what YOASOBI songs are about, they tend to find it like really kind of dancing vibes and jumping around and having this kind of really blast around them, but they are actually songs about depression, mental health, about struggling, loneliness, about many, I would call them dark topics and really heavy topics. And for young adults, I personally experienced it and thought these songs are really relatable and really gives in when you want to express really complicated emotions, but you don't have the artistic aspect in you, and then you find an artist who really delivers it so well. So we'll hear YOASOBI in the end of Journey Freeren, opening, definitely you recognize her, V-Stars, Oshinoko, and also Racing into the Night. Yeah, so actually I think her most famous song ever is Racing into the Night. This is the one that anyone who ever mentions YOASOBI would just bring out first. And then you'll find the others. Eventually when you get into it, you see the other songs, and she has many amazing albums and title songs. The artist I would like to introduce to you now is called Aimé. And the name means in French love, or the love. The name means the verb to love. Actually, I think it was very much a deliberate choice, and it's a really cute name. And you would have heard Eme in Zenkyo no Terror, also Natsuki in Rendezvous, Vinland Saga, Kimetsu no Yaiba, Natsume Jincho, and En no Shobotai and Koi wa Amiyagari. So I think her style is really like soft love music, very cute and sometimes quite emotional. And for the shonen anime, her voice is really strong. Like she has this kind of fluidity that you don't really see often with a lot of artists. But the good part about it is that whenever you hear Eme, you just recognize her. And then of course we have Radwimps. I think it's extremely famous at this point. People who watched Your Name, Suzume, and Withering With You would be so much familiar with them because all the OSTs on those 3 animation movies were made by Radwimps almost. And so they are very energetic, a lot of positive lyrics, very well written songs. I can never recommend them enough. At this stage, I feel like I already recommended you to many J-pop artists, but something I would love to speak about is JROCK. And the first band of JROCK that I have been introduced to myself is called My First Story. And I was surprised to find out that they actually work on some of the animation songs, such as Kimetsu no Yaiba Season 4 opening. Like, when I hear them, I'm like, I know these voices. I'm sure I know them. And then I saw My First Story, I was like, yeah, definitely. And the good thing is that, first of all, their Japanese is not too complicated. I would say it's good for beginners, intermediate level people, speakers. And the second thing, and the third thing is basically because they have really powerful lyrics. Honestly, I feel like they bring in this kind of really strong emotions, like defying society and being rebellious and sort of breaking down everything and starting over. I don't know, I feel like they really have some really nice themes they're working around. Well, maybe they are a bit typical in that sense, but again, I really enjoy them, and it's like for me a way to practice my Japanese, like how far can I understand from this song? Yeah. And I think once you listen to the first song, the second one, and then you get a bunch of them who are on your favorites. So please give them a chance. Another band you would come across a lot while exploring J-pop music and also trying to check animation music that you might get into at some point is Men with a Mission. And that's exactly their name, it's Men with a Mission. And you would hear them in Boku no Hero openings and in Nanatsu no Taizai and Vinland Saga. And the special thing about Men with a Mission is usually when trying to learn Japanese, if you want to learn some lyrics but you don't want to get into full out Japanese rap kind of music, like you want to have half English, half Japanese, or you want to have like really long sections of English singing and then you move on to the Japanese part. And I think Men with a Mission does this really well. It like, makes things much easier, especially like there are few sentences, then if you translate it, then it's much easier for you to remember them and to use them in your daily life and interactions, and even to just, kind of meme sharing or quotes, whatever it is. One of the really famous songs I remember is the one for Nanatsu no Taizai, the one which says, "The pain and the pleasure all come together, there is no reason why." So yeah, the one like that. Something you notice also when you get into J-pop is that Japanese artists often pick really funny band names in order to make them catchy, like as simple as that. And if you want to know why they pick certain names, you probably should go and watch the variety shows or look up like fan sites in order to know why. But one of those bands that I would highly recommend are called Bump of Chicken. As you have heard it, it's called Bump of Chicken. And they have done really good openings for some of the very famous shows, such as, well, I would call them famous, you might not know them as much, Spy Family, Kikai Sensen, and Sangatsu no Lion. So if you have watched any of these 3 shows, you would have come across them. And Bump of Chicken, again, it's energetic style, it's really funny, upbeat kind of music, and they can create things that are a bit melodramatic with Sangatsu no Lion, but again, I feel like they really lift my mood up whenever I listen to them. Even if the lyrics deep down are a bit sad or a bit kind of hurtful, I say it's still still feels really nice to listen to them. That's what I would say. Then I come to one of my favorite 2016-17 kind of bands, which is SPYAIR. And I think I got to know them through Gintama, if you know the show Gintama that I'm speaking about. And also Haikyuu. I mean, they have been doing some of the openings for Haikyuu. And their style, I would say, again, energetic, very positive lyrics, funny lyrics. They give you a lot of good energies. I think that you listen to them not because you can relate to any of the lyrics, especially the funny ounce and the kind of mixed up lyrics, but you will listen to them because they are so much fun, they lift up your mood, and you maybe relate to them in some way. So please check them out. And again, please make sure to look at the credits part in the music when you are watching your anime too. Japanese hip-hop duo might not really need further introductions, but still you might wanna hear about them, which are called CreepyNuts. And CreepyNuts have performed the very famous opening for Marshall Bring Bang Bang, with the really, I mean, worldwide well-known TikTok dance for it. And then you have also Call of the Night. And personally, I found out about them from Call of the Night when I watched Call of the Night. Definitely they are amazing. They performed like the first opening and second opening for Call of the Night, and then they did Marshall, the second opening for the second season. So they have hip hop, which has rap style in it. They are very much funny. They have this kind of repetitive refrain in it, but sometimes not. What can I say about them? Honestly, I feel like just listen to them and decide for yourself if you really get. If you really feel like they are your style or no. If you had managed to get into SPYAIR and also other groups such as CreepyNuts, I think 100% you will enjoy Unison Square. And Unison Square has performed openings for shows such as Ballroom Oyakoso, Run with the Wind, Soul Eater, Kikai Sensen. Again, they have energetic vibes. They are very versatile, I would say. They have performed for shonen anime, but again for slice of life anime too. And I don't know really how to describe them further, but I feel like you will come across their names several times and you are likely to get into one or more songs of them. And if I would have to compare Yaosobi to another artist, I would mention Mafumafu, who's an Otaite and Vocaloid song producer, him and also Yasobi has been working on fairly similar themes related to mental health and struggle of youth and hopefulness and creativity and other similar issues. I would say Mafumafu songs are actually slightly more dark than Yasobi. Like honestly, if I see somebody out there listening to Inochi ni Kerawareteiru, I would really worry about them. Regardless if we know each other or no, I would seriously worry. Especially if they are singing it with a lot of emotions, like I was doing like a long while ago. Yeah, I would worry about them. So yeah, I think it's a good artist to recommend in general because the lyrics are well written, and again the voice is so unique. You wouldn't really mistake again Mafumafu for anyone else on the J-pop arena. So please give him a chance if you are into that kind of songs too. Yeah. Well, at this time and age, I feel like it's an honor to say I have a CD from EGOIST. But it's also, again, very sad news they have already disbanded. Yes. If you had watched Psychopaths or Guilty Crown, you would have definitely heard about EGOIST because they performed the openings there and they did some of the OSTs. And when I went to Japan, one of the things I badly wanted to do was go watch the new Psychopaths movie, which is not translated yet, honestly. But I went there, I was like, let me try my chance. Let me experiment how far I understand from this movie. And I was so happy to find the merch for EGOIST. But the sad part I remembered after I left is that CDs and electronics in Japan almost only work in Japan, and you need some special device in order to use them abroad. Yes, and you need them to be unlocked in all regions too. Aside from that, I really love songs that they made for Psychopaths and Guilty Crown. They convey the dark and kind of dramatic vibes of these shows, and they have really amazing main singer, I would call her. Yeah. So please check them out and let me know what you think about EGOIST and the lyrics from EGOIST. Well, if I say this name, you will think I know him, but from where actually? So Gingunu was the singer for Special's GGK. Yeah. You are my special. Yeah, I feel like that this song became way too famous, way too iconic. I saw the other day a funny video where somebody who put his weeb friend taking care of the for wedding playlist, and he put Specials in the wedding. So actually I got into him when I heard Hakuji, and when I mean heard, not just like hearing it, checking the lyrics all along. And even my friend who's not into Japanese culture and J-pop at all, when she heard Gingunu, she was like, yeah, that's more close to my style. I was so proud of that moment. And also you would have been familiar with him if you have watched Ranking of the King, because he did both of the openings, and definitely that was so amazing. Like really, I have no words for him. He is more like the mature, calm style, but not in a boring way. Like really, his voice keep having these ups and downs that. Sorry, I'm not really professional in music. I cannot really give you what is that actually like. Like his voice has these tonalities which keeps you so hooked on him. And again, I am, as you see, I'm a big sucker for good lyrics. I don't want music that says just a couple of things. Like so, I think you must have heard some of the songs created by kANA BOON, but just in case not, you will remember it from Boruto opening, first one, and there are some Naruto endings or openings that are made by kANA BOON, and also Boku no Hero, for sure. I feel like if you ever really want to go through all the famous artists, even if you are not a fan of Boku no Hero, even if you have a lot of critics for Boku no Hero, just go around and listen to the openings and the endings, because you will get willingly and unwillingly introduced to a lot of great artists there. So I have to give a word about kANA BOON's style. It's very much youthful. The lyrics are very well written. You might not like Boruto, but I would still recommend going through the first opening at least and the lyrics from it. And I almost had a chance to attend their concert in Japan, but then buying concert tickets from abroad while going to Japan is extremely hard process. I discovered you need to go into lottery and you need to hope for the best. And some people even spend years before they get a chance to attend a Japanese concert of their favorite idols or festival or wherever. So yeah, sadly I couldn't really attend kANA BOON, but maybe one day I would. So since we are getting to my favorite best artist, I will need to start preaching you about them. So the first one is Takayan, and I have a whole story. So Takayan is the highlight of my university life, like the last years of my university life, where things got a bit too complicated and too depressing and too difficult that I needed somebody to make things more bearable and more understandable. I don't think I will give you just one song from Takayan because I love most of his songs. I'm practically just following everything he uploads on Instagram and on his YouTube channel and everything. What I would say is that Takayan is really kind of unique kind of artist. He falls more into the category of yaosobi, but he's not just going on, like jumping over the social issues. He's not like just saying, okay, depression or betrayal or social anxiety or difficulty to express opinions or this exclusion only. He's actually naming the issue. He's going at the heart of it. He's using cursing. It's like rapping. It's Japanese rap. So Japanese rap, it's just directly to the heart. You don't go around the issue. You don't use artistic words. You just name things for what they are. Like, curse at people, curse at your ex, curse at the teachers, at the society, at everyone who gets on your nerves. And at the same time, although some of his songs seems to voice so well the, kind of anxieties and fears and sadness that is dwelling inside of many of us, some of them really gives immense amount of hope and love and affirmation to people who find acceptance and peace within non-classical means, like through 2D characters, through your idols, through your, I don't know, kind of random crush you saw one day, through that person who hurts you but you still think about them. So I really love his songs. Probably if I find another Takayan fan, I would, like have a wholehearted discussions about which songs I love the most and which songs I didn't like as much, and which songs I felt like he was doing much better than others, which songs like are really very remarkable and he should work on more content similar to them. But overall, I highly recommend Takayan for young adult audience, not necessarily really young people. Now, I would like to move on to my next favorite artist on the list. It's MIYAVI. And although I would say I'm a fan of MIYAVI, I honestly only know like 4 songs of his. And those songs cover like ID Invaded opening, or maybe ending, it has something like that. And after ID Invaded there is Kokoku. Kokoku is seinen dystopian kind of anime. MIYAVI was designated as Goodwill Ambassador of the UNHCR, which is really impressive for a Japanese pop artist. And again, because he comes from migrant background, so I think that gives him the right voice to speak on behalf of people who have mixed backgrounds living in Japan and around the world. And the next one I'd like to speak about is Eve. And Eve, how should I describe it? There is actually a movie in Netflix called Adam by Eve in Netflix. Yeah. And it has almost a lot of Eve songs there with translations put together, making together a world story, a world lore, which I think is really interesting because it makes sense of how all this have connected symbolism, not necessarily topics, but like the symbolism from one song jumps to another, jumps to the other. He's like full-blown artist. I'm always impressed by his videos. And if you try to follow Eve, if you go online, you realize there are even videos of fans analyzing the different elements and drawings and aspect of his videos, because it's all full of symbolism. It's like you could actually write a book about Eve's symbolism or Eve's criticism or whatever you wanna call it. So he performed openings and probably endings from shows like Chainsaw Man, Dororo, Boku no Hero, JJK. Yeah, so very well known shows, definitely. Yeah, I think I first met him as an independent artist somewhere on YouTube, and then I recognized him in the shows that I mentioned just earlier. So moving on to the next artist is called Queen Bee. And Queen Bee is a transgender artist who performed openings for animes like Dororo, Oshinoko, and Dead and Luck. And personally, my first encounter with him was in Dororo. Like, I realized how much beautiful and how much amazing his voice was. It's hard to describe unless you listen to the opening Dororo and in Oshinoko, Mephisto. But I think I loved how he can switch from feminine to masculine type of voice and swing between them without ever making you doubt that it's actually a band, not a person. His lyrics are super good, especially for In Dead and Luck, Zero. Like, I got hooked. Each time I upload a song for an anime opening or ending, I get so hooked on it. I love so much his voice. I put it on my ringtone. I feel like there is something special about him. And then moving on to Yama. So Yama means in Japanese mountain. And if you think about the symbolism of what a mountain means, like either in Japanese culture or either in general knowledge, I would say a bunch of things. It could mean resilience, it could mean strength, it could mean a never-changing being, it could mean some refuge for deities, for spiritual beings. It could mean a bunch of things. I don't know what does the name Yama means for Yama himself or herself. By the way, I want to tell you about Yama. If you go on the First Take, it's a YouTube channel where they bring in a lot of Japanese pop artists to sing there. If you go on the First Take and see Yama there, you're gonna see somebody with a blue short hair wig and a white mask. You don't know if it's a woman or a man. You don't know if they are young or old. You basically don't know anything about them. And that kind of mystery around the identity of Yama, for me, I really love that. It might have been released at some point in Japanese media, but I don't think I'm especially curious about recognizing who Yama is in real life. I'm just interested in the voice and in the lyrics and the talent that that person really has. And that's what really impressed me. So you might have heard Yama in the opening for Niehime to Kemono no O, or for Spy Family, or also for Osama Ranking. That's where you might have come across Yama's voice in anime. But again, I would recommend that you follow Yama as an artist, you listen to variety of her songs, and also you choose what you feel comfortable with. Again, this is an artist for young adults. I don't think that, I'm just making an assumption here, but personally I don't think that people who are really young might really like it. I think it's more for like older audience, because it's like bringing in this kind of working life and hustle and social interactions kind of, dilemmas. This is how I interpreted the symbolism of Yama. Of course, depending on the person, they might interpret it differently. So it's up to you. Well, there are only 2 artists left now on my list. I hope that you are still here with me, still following my recommendations. And the next one I'd like to talk about is Ado. And this artist has I think the main performance of Ado was in One Piece film Red. If you have went to the cinema to watch it, or you have found it online and watched it, then all the popular OSTs there were performed by Ado. And for me, during that movie, I was just impressed, like literally just impressed by the range of the voice. Like, how can a person jump in from a happy song to really to anger to chaotic type song in a matter of few seconds? That's something that really breathtaking for me. After I went out of the movie of Red One Piece, I downloaded all the songs. I had to. So another song I really loved for Ado, which is not part of animation, it's called I'm a Controversy. I feel like I listened to this every day of last year, almost every day. And then one of her new songs is Value. I loved it. And Usewa. And the last artist I would like to speak about is Reol. And I know Reol is not everyone's cup of tea. You might listen to a couple of her songs and you're like, this is kind of strange, I don't think I'm into it. But for me, my reaction was like, this is kind of strange, I love it. So this is my reaction. So Reol is one of the very first artists I got into after being in Vocaloid years ago, maybe like 15 years ago. And the reason is basically she was doing some covers for some Vocaloid songs, for Len Kagamin horny songs, to be honest, and also for Luca and for Miku. So she did covers like for Drop Pop Candy and for Echo and Luvoratori. If you know the song, most likely you wouldn't recognize. And later on she started making her own songs, of course, because she's trying to debut as an artist and she had to make her own. I think one of the impressive songs of her that I really loved were Sai Saki, White Midnight, Phantom Me, and also Sixth Sense and Edge, which was released recently. And a funny fact here, Edge song was released on the day I had a job interview. Just like half an hour or an hour before my job interview, I was like, you know what, this is just 1 hour away from the interview, I'm not gonna change the future. So I opened my YouTube, I listened to it, and I was like so happy. Like, there was no translation at that point, and of course her Japanese was a bit more complicated compared to my level. So I tried to grasp what I understood, and after the interview I was like, before the interview I was like, this is a good sign. This is a really good sign that Reol song is coming right after a very important moment in my life. Yeah, it's like superstition, yeah. So have a nice day, and I hope that you learned about new Japanese artists that you may want to give